Like you hookshot Morphling, it's a 1.5-second stun, he starts attribute shift, you relocate doesn't kill at all. So I think the ease of execution here really for T1 comes down to when the daggers come into play. If they get the daggers late because their lanes go poorly, then I'm afraid that just going to get overpowered. Let's see what the lanes are going to be set first. Like the obvious lanes here would obviously be Io Gyro safe lane, and then off lane with Clockwork Night Stalker. Or sorry, not it would be Clockwork. It would probably Clockwork Gyro actually in the safe lane. Then Io Night Stalker off lane and Dragon Knight mid. And for IG, we're probably looking at a mid Lina, ET5 together with Morphling, and then Lion tied off lane. For now, with how the heroes are moving, it might just be completely default setup for both teams.
Well, if you're just joining us, welcome, friend, to game one of the two-game series. IG and group stage. We are finally here for TI-10 Super. Very, very excited. IG is posturing, but now, ever since they made this change to the game where it's nighttime and seconds has actually amazing. It's one of the
30 seconds to
I don't know if it's overlooked per se, but it's been one of the underdog change.
This was a change that nobody thought would win.
That's right. One. It captured the hearts of millions of people.
I agree. I think it's nice. It makes things spicier and more interesting. Start. Cuckoo is
backstabbing here. He's going to find Emo, but Astral Spirit is...
The battle begins.
Well, it's Ollie and company. Yeah, they're going to have to back up now with that battery. So very, very scary here. LSA not going to be able to connect. Nice space in there for T1. Holy Missile is going to connect. This is going to be first blood going away. One. Start for them.
Gonna go to Zephyr. Ollie used a Fairy Fire, and therefore the last hit didn't go on Cuckoo. I don't know if that was the point, or if he was hoping to survive there, but either way, gonna get that burst of gold onto the Io. He's gonna use this to buy a Magic Stick and a Healing Salve going to this bottom lane. Magic Stick, pretty nice here. It's not amazing by any means, but you know, at least Elder Titan will be throwing out these Astral Spirits pretty consistently. You get those stick charges, and eventually Morphling maybe skilling Adaptive Strike.
You get nothing.
Ollie just try to trade aggressively here.
You fought and died.
Goes.
Yeah, we got DK versus Lina, the classic matchup where Lina should win. I mean, how much was nerfed in the acid?
So it went from 4-8, 12, 16 region to 3-6, 9, 12.
Yeah.
So it's just worse on every level by 1. Or, well, by 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
And what Dragon Knights would usually do in the mid lane was that they would go either 1-0-2 or 0-1-2. So they would get the Dragon Blood up to the 8 region really fast. And having that 2-less region matters a lot when you're playing in the lane against a high hero. First Blood, pretty straightforward.
Clockwork is one of those heroes, especially at level so
He's very good at level 1 fights that are not a cluster. Where if you catch one hero off guard, it's like it's the highest damage spell in the game on level 1. So full value of that result. Very strong.
Carl mid, just a little bit behind this CS, which is here. DK mid in this meta, right? Well, I guess we don't even know based on what we know so far. The hero that can really just go flash jungle, right? Like Lina will push the wave, go to the jungle, get a bunch of XP and gold that way. So yeah, you have to expect up to a better start, to a decent.
So far, it's a tie.
It is 2 minutes in the game. We're talking about like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, I do think eventually Lina will overpower her, but what you're seeing Carl do here is that he's going to stun level 1, and he's just going to stun the Lina to get CS, basically. He's ensuring creeps in whatever way possible that you're seeing that the harassment is starting to mount here. He's just constantly, relentlessly just hitting him. Like, Dragon Knight can't do anything about this except, you know, playing defensively with his Dragon Blood. But again, with that being nerfed, I think we're already looking at a Healing Salve being sent up. No, Ring of Protection tank. goes. Carl.
Take the water rune.
And he's not even getting this water rune from value for himself. He's getting it so that Lena doesn't get two water runes, right? Water rune is just really weak now. After the nerfs, Carl is going to lead again. We're talking a lot about this mid lane, but honestly, I think he's dominating the other two lanes harder. Morphling is having a totally free game here. He's 17-2 against the Night Stalkers, 9-1. And the top lane, Tidehunter as well, 14-3 against Gyros, 10-4. So IG just off to a better start in all three lanes.
Yeah. You were talking about how important it is for T1 to get off to the better game. They're
not necessarily better, but they need to hit timings, I think, on dagger.
Okay, so they get that dagger timing.
Not today.
I think
like
so,
if this were to go late game, regardless of how the game.
I really like the Radiant lineup. Powerful. Elder Titan is always one of these late game X Factor heroes.
Ooh. A crap out of Cuckoo there. Perfectly normal damage for
Beast in lane. Stacks coming out here from Kaka in the triangle. I think he's only going to get the big camp here. Not able to get both that and the Ancients. Don't even know if he wants to stack Ancients here, actually.
How much impact has the nerfs to stacks made? Based on what you still
Some, but I think primarily the heroes that were really ramp up, like quick ramp up heroes, like Sven, TA, probably the ones that got hit the hardest. But
who continue to get chased here by Ollie, who's taking just chip damage. It's just an IO attacking him. Feels like those attacks should hit. How they look. It's a wisp after all. Still very, very well for us. Damage on the 23 Savage in the meantime, like you talked about, 15-5, and if you compare it to the position 1 IG, yeah, that is a big.
I think what you're going to be looking at for T1 here is you probably know that the lanes aren't going particularly well when you just think about standard CS on these heroes at this minute mark. So up bottom lane, bit of a trade-off. Ollie will be fine though. They're bullying Fly here, which is really important. If you're laning against Morphling and you can somehow lay into him, he has the Morbid Mask and obviously wants to go and hit creeps, but all the time they push him back like this. They're just controlling the flow of the farm. That's nice. But yeah, what I was going to say is I think T1 is aware of the situation that they're in. They're going to take some time to wait. Don't think they're going to get this. They're going to try to get to their daggers. Pretty sure. This first nighttime is unlikely to really bear a lot of fruit for Cuckoo. He's going to have a better time laning at least. He will get more farm now that he is sure, but the kill potential I think isn't really there just yet. Very reliant on Relocate or the Dragon Knight to show up.
Yeah, nice stun there, and that's going to set up. Well, actually, Zephyr is in the.
You've been burned.
Nobody in mid gets the bounties are available at each respective spot. So.
Jackpot.
Is this you're talking about E-Blade game?
I think so. I mean, not necessarily first item, but I do think it just has a lot of value because you're against Dragon Knight, you're against IO. These are heroes you want. You can burst with magic, and you have so much synergy with it. So, the better assault damage here from Whiteman, but not going to be enough. And obviously, you're playing against Tidehunter with Ring of Health as well as.
Earth Spike with the Laguna Blade coming out from Emo into the Hex as well. He's so tanky. Carl pops his ult and then dies instantly. The TPs from Whitemon are here. Nice block from Kaka. Looks like it's going to save Emo's life as a result. That's a Dragon Knight ult down and the instant death.
And the TP. So this means that space is now freed up even more top for JT, who I think in this matchup, Tide actually, if you imagine this lane being 1-on-1, I think it's just flat out Tide favored, right? I think you just run at the gyro, you anchor smash him, and just hit him. And 23 Savage might just end up leaving the lane now that Tide is hitting level 6 as well. The risk of dying here is just way too high. A Ravage plus any connection would be a kill. If he has to go into the jungle now, you're essentially just leaving all 3 lanes in IG's control entirely. This top lane is one where you did have potentially a kill with Clock plus Battery Assault and Rocket Barrage, but yeah, at this point, probably evacuate, go jungle, try to build up.
Fight the slow jungle. What are the... Okay, that was a quick pause, so... How often, in your playing experience, pause the game just to untilt somebody? Never. I mean, people must do that.
It's also not allowed at TI.
It's not allowed anywhere, but it's hard to prove as well. It's just...
Yeah, we don't have tactical pauses. At TI, it's strictly technical pauses. So when games are paused, you give a reason. And it was like extended beyond whatever. Especially at the main event when we're in the thing. Yeah, it's very structured how pauses get to be used. Or Emo.
Emo is top of the charts right now. Having himself an incredible game.
More fuel for my
Shouldn't be too
fire.
surprising. I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of IG in the last major, but the first one obviously they did quite well, right? So
Yeah.
and Emo was a big reason for that. Question mark himself. Lifeline. Take a void to the face, but the attribute shift off.
It's still good to see from T1 that they are pressuring where they can here. Like, they keep running at this morph lane. It might feel pointless when you look at the morph just go down to 1 HP and then morphing back up again with the attribute shift, but the alternative is if you don't do this, he's just farming, right? So yeah, you're not killing him, but you're doing economic damage at least to his game. And where else could you really do that? That's kind of the tricky part, right? Tide is a difficult kill. The Lina has won her lane and she's kind of half playing jungle, and your lineup doesn't really gank very well until you have daggers, right? Dragon Knight can't really get on top of people. Clockwork's level 5, and Night Stalker is... He could potentially try a dive mid or something like that. That's what you're looking at. It's not your obvious smoke ganking supports you've got your hands on here.
Although it's not good news that Cuckoo is the top network if he won, but at the same time, if he can get some good impact here. Do you think it's this nighttime that he has to do?
The one at 15 to 20, I think so. I would hope for T1 they have at least one dagger then. It looks like it's not going to be Cuckoo. He's going for Echo Saber first, which is a very common Night Stalker build right now. Echo Saber into dagger, and then you can split the Echo Saber into BKB if you need it. Dragon Knight sitting on a Tumbler's Toy will give him a little bit of gap close. Actually, he could find stuns with that. It's a little bit of a pseudo blink.
There it goes.
But not hovering an item right now.
Battle for the 10-minute runes again at the double damage this time. LSA. Okay, looks like they're going to get the Rune Blade off onto White Mom, but the heal from Zephyr comes through. He was taken by Seven in the meantime getting chased by JT. All down as well. As much space possible. There's the hook shot. White Mom now inside the cog with a big Ravage. Thinking enough to at least get a kill from himself before he makes his way to the grave, but negative. Die and Ravage something.
Very important for Whitemon to show up there. The next Anchor Smash is a kill on Savage, and he would have gone if that would have just Ravaged and got him in the trees. So they rotate up support here to protect, and yeah, the Ravage is used. At the very least, the silver lining there for JT is that he got that 3-man rotation while the mid wave is being pushed by a siege creep. So
Yeah.
T1 kind of need to put out some fires across the map right now, and now that their Clockwork as well as IO are in the top half, IG seem relatively confident with doing this, knowing that there's no hookshot to catch their Lina, who also has a Tumbler Toy. So wait. How much of a chance did they get? They got 80%. That's pretty damn good at this point for their lineup. And at the same time, Fly bottom, well, guess what? There's another siege creep pushing in the bottom lane as well. So definitely a big structural damage advantage now for IG. Their towers look very healthy. T1 towers top is half, mid is almost down like we talked about, and bottom is also half. So a lot of potentially unclaimed gold that could come IG's way in the next 5 minutes, as well as obviously the more important map control, just pushing the waves further.
What do you think at 20 Savage's build? Went Falcon Blade on the gyro, playing for Defusal. He has pick pull, thank you.
Very common pickup against Morphling.
What, the pick pull?
Yes. When you're against Morphling, you specifically find pig pull. I think the Fusel Blade is just a specifically targeted item against.
It's still up. There's the finger of death. Cuckoo pops his ult, and
a little bit in the tank for these kills. It was the same with the Laguna Blade earlier. We'll cross that threshold eventually, especially if Morphling goes. Imperial Blade is queuing up Manta for now, or at least the Yasha. There's two ways of looking at this. The one is all the upsides we talked about with E-Blade. The other one is, well, you're against Gyro. So if you have a sick right click build with Flak Cannon, that is a lot of spread damage, and you already have a lot of single target damage through your mid and your 4. So maybe you want to cover your bases that way. I think both ideologies are fine in different ways. But what like play style you're aiming for in order to win the game. I can't say one is just it really depends on the flow and how the players feel in the game as well. Dota is a very complex.
is it?
Yeah. It's hard to solve, so to speak. You can play what you feel like is the perfect game, and then you look through the replay and you find 10 mistakes. Like, you play a game where you feel like you're terrible, and then you look through it and you're like, okay, there are actually so many factors that you can be as hard on yourself as you want, right? But there's a lot of things that can just happen that you, when you look at it, couldn't. Right. Yourself.
That's the beauty of the game. Emo going to be pushing this tier 2 tower. Looks like it's going to fall one way or the other.
So that's 2 towers for IG. All of their own towers are still very safe, and this is the makings of a very mid-game favored situation for them, because now that they've pushed out this top and mid tower, they get to start making aggressive smoke movements into the enemy jungle, either in order to kill or in order to ward. They're actually going to see the smoke right away. Didn't waste any time on that. With these towers down, they're going to smoke 3-man behind Emo, maybe rotating to bottom, which would be a very unexpected play. They don't want to go on Whitemon anyway. They don't want to waste their smoke on a position 5, so maybe this one just ends up being used to place a ward. Kaka doesn't have one, though. It's only on Ollie. Kaka is leading here. They see Cuckoo. They see him, they ping him.
Pretty good kill.
Smoke breaks.
White farm. A little bit too long of a duration there.
Wait, actually, it didn't run out. It didn't go too close.
I thought it... Oh, it was Clockwork with his...
Oh, Clock came close enough. Okay, so throw line, and they just called off the play.
There's the Blink Dagger you were talking about. Initiation after.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Is that
attack.
enough to start fights, or does Gyro need a little bit? Because he went late. Like, obviously, the Defusel's good, but...
Dragon Knight Blink Dagger is always enough to start fights. It's about finding the right opportunities where you don't get counterplayed too hard, right? You're still... Even with the dagger, you're playing against Elder Titan Stomp, you're playing against Ravage, which is really scary. And speaking of dagger, JT is only 400, he is only 5, which makes it very easy. Counter-initiate on relocates, counter-initiate on the Dragon Knight when he goes in. So yes, the plays are available. Be very selective and ideally have some sort of a map read where you see 1 or 2 heroes that are not able to connect to the fight, so you can take a numbers advantage. The problem is, once again, you're behind on towers, so finding that man advantage and the information is just inherently harder for the Dire team in this spot, but they are going to look for it here with Smoke.
Yeah. From a T1's perspective, it's a little bit of a shame that they're structural damage.
I just realized we have 3 kills in 50.
It's been a bit of a slow game. I mean, this is the first game, and I'm not surprised at all. First game of TI.
That is very slow. If you don't watch a lot of Dota, this is very uncommon.
This is League of Legends, by
It
the
is
way.
very uncommon to have this few kills.
In Dota, yes.
Yes. Yes, it's specifically. I'm sorry for talking about the game that we're actually watching here.
In Dota, yes.
Again, absolutely.
Money to burn.
Dagger now online for JT is being delivered, so
Top.
ends up being like only a minute and a half difference. The off lane and the mid.
Exactly.
Games.
It's
That's crazy.
And it's not only that, but Tide has also got a hood, right? He's
Yeah,
just
true.
ahead of DK.
Yeah.
That was the thing we talked about. Dragon Knight doesn't really want to do that pit stop for the hood, so he didn't. But Tide doesn't mind at all. kind of game, especially with the start he's had. So, yep, the smokes haven't really borne any fruit for either team. Nobody got a ward out even, I believe, their smoke. Maybe actually this one in the mid tier 1 and tier 2 tower for T1 I do think was off the back of the smoke. It's also very hard to get this one in without that. But they don't seem to be able to convert this ward into a mid move, which is what they want. They want to catch mid so they can take tower. They're going to get a hook shot top though.
For now, Emo gets meantime, looks like it might be a trade of some sort. Will actually live through the day. Relocate from Zephyr coming in as well. And anything on top of that. Dead cock.
It's something. In the meantime, Carl is pushing bottom. This is a really good play from T1. You want to make sure this Dragon Knight ulti gets to use the game. It's taken very long for them to activate. I think they would rather be pushing the mid tier 1 with the ward they've placed and then turn it into a fight with their dagger. But at the very least, they find a pick and they use it to push structure. So this is very good for them. Open up the map a bit. Looks like Carl will... Oh, he's actually hesitating here, worried that he is getting TP'd on because IG's heroes stopped showing top. But I think he will find his confidence now.
Radiant's bottom tower is
a replay?
under attack.
Using
Bottom tower has fallen.
the Tumbler's toy. I don't think he was in range to get stuck. Nice usage either way. Has a quick bind, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A good hotkey choice. Investigate what that is later. Copy that. That's what you do to get better.
Do what Emo does, just type question mark.
Second to find easy kill. Nice attempt on the hook shot onto the nuke creeps. First stack, I believe, for Kaka is like that.
Invisibility.
Savage now in triangle. He gets scanned. Back away. 5e sensitive.
So all in all, still a very even game. Once again, still slightly favor IG based on map control, but with this open bottom tower now that Carl managed to accomplish, that will help them a lot. Gold is basically at a point that's roughly 0. And worth noting is the value of the net worth, right? Like, we like talking about the graph and what it means that, you know, this hero is rich and this hero is poor. But it's not always that binary. It's also about, like, how much is the gold worth? Those max is an insane.
That's a Ravage, and that's a dead Cuckoo. All right,
Okay.
Elder Titan ult used as well.
He's
My
dead.
goodness. That is a double dead corpse, I believe.
Yeah.
TP's out.
He got overkilled by a lot.
What if that was a thing? That would be interesting.
An overkill counter. Yeah.
You spawn with less HP.
But yeah, as far as value and net worth, right? Blink Dagger is one of these perfect items for like explaining that concept, where in the right situation, Blink Dagger is worth a lot of gold, and the wrong situation is worth nothing, right? If you're taking damage, it's dead gold. It does literally nothing. Io's mech is just, in terms of its potential for what it costs and what it can do in the game, is an insane item for its price, right? It's a guaranteed way of healing your carry a lot, turning a team fight around, and unless you're stunned, it will go off. It doesn't have the same kind of limitations. So I do think right now with the net worth, I would love to see T1 fight with no Ravage. I think this is a great move, and they're going to make use of the... If they find Emo,
Emo pops the BKB instantly. Looks like everybody's going to be safe as a result. Also, shot next here.
Waited for a blink
Ollie?
stun from T2 then.
Might as well get it. So sacrificial lamb for IG, but they're... Honestly, that's not that bad.
Oh, if you're IG, this isn't too bad if you hold mid tier 1,
It did
right?
cost them the full charge.
Radiant
It
structures
did.
are
They're going to glyph mid.
fortified.
The Dark Ascension still has a decent amount of time left on it. They might have to get this tower up, actually. All right, nice for T1 to grab this and equalize the tower score.
Middle tower has fallen.
I think this could have actually gone even better for them if they had a little more patience. I think if Dragon Knight opens the Lina there, they just find this kill, but maybe Cuckoo felt like he had to go in and Dragon Knight was too far away, or the dagger was on cooldown, and they need to... Either way.
Do you think he's
tower
fast
under
enough to
attack.
pop BKB if a Dragon Knight who's already ulted blinks in and there's that little projectile? He was DK ulted already for that smoke.
It's almost inhuman reactions.
Why didn't he?
If you have no... Yeah.
Smoke. And this time for IG, but... I mean, having said all this, like, after the laning stage, T1 kind of lost every lane. 23 Savage has recovered extremely well on top of the charge.
Air Gyro will do that if given the space, and IG did make a good attempt at shutting it down at least a little bit by getting these early towers, but haven't really, like we talked about, the skirmishes didn't really work out that well.
Scout it. Yeah.
Big moment, they're not even coming. Well, this is one of the biggest weaknesses of Night Stalker, right? When it's not night, that is it's pretty bad, right? So good reads from both teams, right? Essentially the trade-off here is the mid-tier 1 for the Aegis. That's what happened. They knew there was no Ravage, so they made their move, and then IG knows there's no Darkness or no Dark Ascension, so they make their move, and both moves are successful. Now, what are you going to use this Aegis for? So we did see Fly go for the E-Blade. He did follow through and only get the value Yasha and actually queuing up BKB. His burst now is nasty.
Oh boy, they're gonna Hex 23 Savage right off the that finger of death to follow, and Zephyr trying to go for the save, but it's not to be. Maybe his death as well. So very nice smoke gank after the Roche was taken from IG.
They didn't even need it.
Yeah, they didn't do that much.
They used like 2/3 of their damage and still died.
What are your thoughts on Aegis for Flyfly instead of Emo? Because you can argue either way, I'm sure.
This is one of the biggest weaknesses of Night Stalker, right? When it's not night, that is it's pretty bad, right? So good reads from both teams, right? Essentially the trade-off here is the mid-tier 1 for the Aegis. That's what happened. They knew there was no Ravage, so they made their move, and then IG knows there's no Darkness or no Dark Ascension, so they make their move, and both moves are successful. Now, what are you going to use this Aegis for? So we did see Fly go for the E-Blade. He did follow through and only get the value Yasha and actually queuing up BKB. His burst now is nasty.
Oh boy, they're gonna Hex 23 Savage right off the bat. Finger of death to follow, and Zephyr trying to go for the save, but it's not to be. As well, so a very nice smoke gank after the Roche was taken from IG.
They didn't even need it.
Yeah, they didn't do that much.
They used like 2/3 of their damage and still died.
What are your thoughts on Aegis for Flyfly instead of Emo? Because you can argue either way, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure why they chose on the Morph. I personally like it on the Lina here as well, because she's a little bit more susceptible to getting killed. Perhaps the logic is by putting the Aegis on Morph, we can go and hit towers, right? We can push. If they do want to jump our Morphling with Night Stalker plus Blink Dragon Knight Stun, they can kill him one time, but they can't do it twice. So that way, maybe. But in the same vein, though, you could do that with Lina too, right? She's not a bad pushing hero once you have a couple of items like this. It's for 200 with insane attack speed. But I wouldn't mind either way.
Now with the Shadow Blade, does she actually go for Silver Edge here?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Good against
Invisibility.
DK.
Yeah.
Good. Very popular item right now.
Yep. The up-and-comers, for sure. Flyfly now, still with that Aegis, obviously. Hitting this tier 2 tower. See what T1 wants to do. They have 3 heroes. There's no for the initiation from Carl. They should actually blow up Flyfly now. So the attribute shift off. Papa jumps in with the skill. Now the with the Emo BKB. That is a dead Cuckoo right off the bat. It'll be a 2-for-1 exchange for now. More staff to safety. GT set here for IG. We still have that Aegis.
Very good Ravage. Cuckoo obviously unable to BKB. He was caught by the Lion Stun. They BKB on the Gyro only, so it was a 4-man Ravage. Dragon Knight didn't get his off. They take an okay-ish fight. Honestly, not really a travesty for T1 either. They end up not losing their tower in all of this. So that could have gone way worse. But Aegis still intact. Lifeline, you would imagine the next move, IG, will be with their next Ravage in 100 seconds. They will have... How long on the Aegis then? 30 seconds.
Regeneration.
So there is a small window to take another massively favored fight with that second life on more. And he'll probably have the BKB for that.
Carl, he gets off the stun. Got Io coming in as well. Pick out Emo. They have a vision. There they hook shot. That's going to be an easy kill. Very nicely layered there for T1. A little sneaky gank, if you will. 60 seconds. Essentially, you're deleting that from the Aegis.
Yep, that's true. That should...
See a replay here. There's that big old Ravage. BKB's built for IG.
Notice the Morphling's mana and all this, right? That's the diffusal from Gyro at work. Really forcing him out of the fight. Really do much. They're gonna be hungry for more moves with this Nina dead. Really good to see that you want just keep putting on the pressure when you have the man advantage. Your lineup is very snowbally in nature, and what it can do when it's ahead, all they're gonna get for their trouble is an outpost. IG made the read and got out.
And that was without the Ags on Savage. So now that he has that double attack, essentially,
yeah, that's definitely gonna help a lot.
Even more.
I think still, if you're IG now, I feel like this is a perfect timing to go smoke. Lina has Boots of Travel, so she can likely connect to your play if you make it in the right spot. And that way you get value out of your Aegis that has 50 seconds left and the Ravage coming up in 25. There's like this narrow timing, 20 seconds, where you could find the dream fight. She could TP mid as well. They're very close to BKB on Morphling though, so maybe you want to wait for that. I don't know if that's better than an Aegis.
If you're T1, you have to know. Timer, you don't have to write it down seconds. They should know that there's this small timing. It's only a 2K net for IG, so
it
is. Mostly on the back of the 5-man smoke. So yeah, they're timing this pretty on the dot here. Aegis 20 seconds.
They will be unaware about the BKB though, and that could catch them really off guard. They need to be careful with how they jump fly, because if it's just the Night Stalker starting again, they might catch him here though.
Fly in the river.
Oh, they're too
Savage.
far.
They don't have nation.
The heroes are on the other
position.
side. Yeah, they were looking at the bottom half with the Night Stalker and Dragon Knight.
Might want us to go though. Whitemon posturing for a hook shot. Here we go for the high ground. Kaka's going to get caught by Cuckoo. There's the BKB with the crippling fear. Looks like we'll clean up the line very easily. On the fly potential. We're on the backside. Dragon now dissipated. There's the E-Blade. Shot now going to connect onto Emo with a cog. Pushing it back in 23-17. A lot of it. BKB going to save for a second. Look at the HP regen, but it's not going to be enough to save. Emo able to Shadow Blade out to safety. Some way, somehow lives. Double kill for Flyfly now as he continues just destroying kids left and right. That was extremely close to having a decent fight for T1 if Emo dies there.
There wasn't much, they didn't need much more there, just a tiny little bit. Of course, an issue that they are facing with their lineup, you're going to see the replay here. Cuckoo has good single target damage on Night Stalker, right? But he uses everything for the Lion kill. So now that they want to go for a core kill, Cuckoo can't connect here. He's getting zoned off by the Morphling. And once this fight breaks out down here, can't ever really reconnect back in, right? And he finally gets in after another 10 seconds, just gets Laguna and dies on the spot. So obviously Gyrocopter as a carry offers insane teamfight damage, but the single target damage is not that good, especially against BKB heroes. And with Night Stalker having used everything he had in the tank for the Lion to open up with, they couldn't finish off Emo's lead in time. And a well-structured fight again there for IG.
Fly turning into Savage as well. Even the Rocket Barrage.
Yep. Use the line buyback, at the very least. That's the good news here for T1. It gives them a clear path into the next fight. Kill Lion, you have that man advantage guaranteed. And I do think they should do what they did again. If they can find Night Stalker an opening on Kaka, it is a super high impact play. Ravage unexpended there, by the way. Noting, I think it wasn't.
Might have been tail end there. 5-man smoke. One, they had vision here.
Regeneration.
BKB gets the stun off. They're going to focus on the Lion again. So pretty successful. Yeah.
Very good.
Stomp onto Cuckoo. So he's going to connect with Laguna Blade. They're going to be able to destroy Cuckoo in turn. So it's a 1-for-1.
Okay, it was very good.
It was, but again, the positioning a little bit tentative, or hesitant, I should say, for Farland Company in the backline.
And also just a mistake from Cuckoo, right? You can't get LS8 there, I think. You have the vision advantage. The Lina does not have any specific cast range that helps her out. I don't know if she got him out of the Silver Edge, I think it's more forgivable. Maybe that's what happened. Just got clipped on the edge by a stun he wasn't expecting, but yeah, he's ahead of his team and nobody was there to save him. There was no IO heals coming in, just being connected there with Savage, so end up just selling their Night Stalker basically fight, and that just ends the chase that could have looked interesting, right? Because that's where they had that lion advantage. Showing the hero with no buyback that they nicely set up.
Right now, just I'm trying to understand T1's their right way to put this.
Mindset.
Their position to win, like the game goes further, because look at Carl's item. I know you can go Silver Edge is going to give you right now. Absolutely. Until you get that Silver.
Silver Edge is going to help. Sure.
Like right now in these fights, they have one hero to kind of an issue.
Boom! There it goes.
Yeah, Nightstalk can still perform that function as long as his BKB lasts 8 seconds currently. So I don't think damage is an overwhelming concern right now, but I think somewhere down the line, if Cuckoo and Carl don't start getting some big damage, it will definitely.
There's smoke going.
Boom! There it goes.
Reg officially online. Mindbreaker in his backpack.
Extra bit of protection.
Farm the jungle. Wards off as well.
Yeah, didn't find what they were looking for, except just protecting the Roche pit. They know Roshan is spawning soon. They're Radiant. Getting these keeper wards around the Roche pit is really strong in this position. So that if T1 try to contest, you will either break their smoke there, or you will even see them if they're out of smokes. And obviously, the Observer Ward always going to be an important tool, but has even added value against Knights. That hero thrives off vision advantage. Take that away from them a lot of the time, Nightstalk. Roshan spawns in 40 seconds. They obviously do not know this, but they can narrow it down, right? The timer now is approaching the later portion of his respawn. Yeah. So probably just hang around here, wait for the respawn, and I think T1 has to fight them for it. I don't think you can give this Aegis up. Roche number 2.
And it's on.
They have everything. They have nice stock belt, they have the shot.
More fuel
Vision
for my
constantly with,
fire.
this
Shard 2. Actually,
shard.
Boom!
like
There
there's,
it
it's
goes.
kind of cute to give the shard to ET in this game, but the Lion one is also good. The reason the ET one is cool is he's playing with a lineup, so
Get a watch off of this. Shaking nice off the heck. There's the Pratt on the several here. The 23-7 cost BKB just right clicking instead. 2 for 2 as the buyback comes out now. The tide on the JT back in the fight very shortly. Evil on the high ground, be able to finish off White Lumber. Now that's been extended. Everything on the 23-7. He's going to get destroyed. Cuckoo with very little HP. Looks like he'll get out, but this likely is a free Roche for IG.
it's bad news for T1 when you lose a fight where your Gyro has Satanic and DD. But look at the damage, right? Like the damage numbers. Gyro did everything. Nobody else even seemingly got anything off. Carl just got blasted, did 95 damage total. I don't even know how that's possible with Dragon Knight. Maybe he hit a Dragon Tail. Probably what it was, right? And just got annihilated. It's just, you're going to see here in the replay, right? So they catch him as the opener, blast him immediately, take him out. Morph turns into Gyro, goes for the flat cannon hits. And Cuckoo, lucky to survive there as well on that, and will obviously reset out here. Trying to like poke and prod at Emo, but he's just set and survive. Who will be the lone survivor flying away. So huge lead now going the way of IG. 9k Aegis.
All right, let's talk about Shard. Right?
They gave the shard to...
Well, Flyfly has it in his backpack. He's not going to use it.
So, okay, so here's why I think it could be cool on ET here is...
They don't have any crazy shards.
Right, that's...
Tide Hunter's
First of all,
probably
that's
the
why
best
you could consider
objectively.
it. Obviously, the ET doesn't have the Ag Scepter yet, so you are exposing yourself. But what the shard does on the ET is that you can choose to replace your Astral Spirit position when you stomp, right? So let's say he finds a stomp onto either Gyro or DK, you can get on top of them and remove that armor. So Morph can just blast them immediately, right? During a Hex, for example. I think it's cute, but at the same time, maybe the risk reward isn't good enough for it. Because you're also putting yourself in an awkward position, right?
It sounds more like a
Yeah, when he has
right?
if he had the scepter, I think they would give it to him on the
tied.
spot.
All right, so right as usual, sit to your elders here.
If he had it on ET, if he had the X scepter, they would have given it. Trust me. Source, trust me.
All right, if he had 6,000 gold worth of items in addition to what he has, plus what.
Dire's top
I have no
tower is
idea
under
what.
attack.
Just listen.
Yep, listening. Yeah, learned nothing.
All right, it's a tier 3 tower down. Fly Fly's doing so much damage with the addition of the emo on the side. It is Aegis. I can't blink Q1 for not even attempting.
Dire's top barracks have fallen.
The Aegis, plenty of time. I just go for another set.
Yeah, I think you just go mid. I don't even know if you need the creep wave. Maybe they do want to ensure it.
Play it safe here.
Yeah, they have time. Aegis with 2.5 minutes is more than enough to push out the mid wave and go next. So they're going to take it nice and easy.
Yeah, the
nothing
Anchor
too
Smash
pressure.
shard we should mention. I'm going to do this every count.
Right.
When people complain. But actually, no, I'm not. You get the extra damage on Anchor Smash, and it is damage and does damage. Even more pushing potential.
Yeah.
The lineup that they have, it's not needed, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, I guess that's why Fly was hanging on to it for so long. They were like, man, none of our shards feel amazing. Which one is least bad? And
Lena's is really weird. I mean, Lions is pretty good.
I think they should have given it to Lion, honestly. I think the Lion one would have been better than Lion,
Illusion.
but just because it gives you a line of protection against some potential plays.
I think the issue with that is that it ends up being a waste when Night Stalker blinks on.
Dire's middle
Can't do
tower
anything.
is
Just go
under
Scepter for that
attack.
at least, so you can outlive that and then maybe
Okay.
monitor in the follow-up.
So the
suns,
Void is
perhaps.
going to do like 800 damage? That's the math.
Yeah. I mean, so far everything you've said about numbers has been like 100%
Just
off.
ignore the numbers
Literally.
and just listen to what I'm trying to say. Not very eloquent.
Dire's middle
Tier
tower
3 down
has
again.
fallen.
Waveformed into the rocket, a little bit of mistake there, doesn't matter though.
Good effort.
And he's just going to keep pushing. They still have the two siege
Siege
creeps
as
left.
well. Then BKB are on the back line. They're going to take out only right off the bat. Very nice. He's going to have to buy back into the game now. Somebody in the back line as well, but do the clockwork for now. But I think P1 probably back to the high ground they go. Is relocate to just avoid the homing this through. With that BKB dissipating now, IG prime position to take. Not only in second rack, but potentially in the game.
They know the relocate's coming back. Nice stomp timing there.
There's the Ravage to follow it up, and it looks like that's going to be an easy peasy kill on the 23 Savage. He does have buyback though. Oh, they get connected.
Dire's middle barracks have fallen.
Try to go on him. The Kuka jumps into the cripple. Grib a heck of a present on the BTBs are down. Exosoft's going to connect. On 23 Savage, he just TP'd it. Then it's a triple kill for Fly Fly and a dieback on the 23 Savage. So game one.
真是的，哥哥，
I
我们看的最真是的，哥哥。
Dire's ace is under attack.
the laning stage didn't go that well for P1, but they did come back. Yeah, they had good presence, but it just felt like they had one hero that was doing a lot and a lot of others that. Dragon Knight mid, we talked about the pitfalls potentially of this hero that it just